Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Has anyone checked in on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? Well, you guys know the situation, right? If Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez ever faces criticism, and especially public criticism, it usually means she's in some really serious physical trouble.
Here's your words, here's your words.
I was murdered.
You were murdered. Okay,
Either that or the individual criticizing her just secretly wants to date her. But on a real note, Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary, Toronto business magnate Kevin O'Leary, just showed up on CNN for a conversation about liberal policies and more specifically, liberal cities. And as we know, Mr. Wonderful doesn't really like tiptoeing around sensitive subjects. He'd rather get straight to the facts instead. And of course, we know what happens when you get straight to the facts when you speak the truth on CNN. The panel goes silent. Kevin O'Leary trashing liberal policies and directly trashing Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on CNN, leaving the network panel in absolute shock. Let me show you guys exactly what happened and let's talk about why Kevin O'Leary is right. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so take a look at this right over here.
Thousands of jobs coming out of that. I mean, that's New York. Uninvestable. Sorry, don't shoot the messenger. Just telling you the way it is.
Yeah,
that's it. Uninvestable.
Some pushback from our elected officials in New York on that.
I was just going to say Kathy Hochul.
Yeah, but
I'll debate them any time of the day you want.
We would love to set that up.
Particularly
I'd watch
AOC.
that.
She's great at killing jobs. She kills jobs by the thousands. You know, another New Jersey problem. Where did Amazon take their jobs? They took them away from her. She threatened to sue them if they created jobs. I mean, this is a reality. This is a reality that the business...
There's a little more to it, but let's not relitigate that.
Well, sorry, I'm just telling the truth.
He's saying what a lot of people are saying, especially what happened with that Amazon thing here in New York.
Now, see, CNN is not fully redeemed. I mean, not even close. But I have to admit, with the new ownership group, it's at least a little bit better. I'm not sure the old CNN would have allowed Kevin O'Leary, a known conservative, and most importantly, that deadly combination of being a known conservative who happens to speak freely with very little filter. That tends to happen when your net worth is in the hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, and you're not beholden to a certain agenda. Kevin O'Leary isn't a bought and paid for shill, and so of course, like usual, he comes out swinging, absolutely stunning the CNN morning panel. You know, there's a unique type of enjoyment that I get when you see an influential figure like Kevin O'Leary absolutely shattering the narrative and shattering people's worldview in real time, live on air for millions to see. This is a viral clip that's already been shared across the internet to the tens of millions of views. And hopefully people are paying attention because what Kevin O'Leary is saying is absolutely 100% correct. CNN's Caitlin Collins responds with, "I'm sure our elected officials would have a different opinion." Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, they're politicians representing New York. What, are they going to agree with Kevin O'Leary that their policies are making New York City uninvestable? Not exactly a stellar argument. The fact of the matter, the facts in this discussion are pretty easy to attain, pretty obvious, and pretty clear. You just gotta look at basic trends. I mean, first of all, let's look at migration trends. Places like California and New York have the highest net negative immigration numbers in the entire country, meaning people are fleeing the state. And of course, by virtue, what does that mean? If people are fleeing New York and people are fleeing California, it means that they're probably taking their businesses with them. I showed you guys this segment not too long ago as well, a news story covering all of the finance firms leaving New York City, leaving Wall Street for the beautiful beaches of Miami.
We didn't stop hearing about Florida in 2020.
From Florida now.
golden ticket in Florida.
It sounds like Florida. Well, you're not alone.
Some of Wall Street's biggest names like Goldman Sachs, Elliott Management, and Citadel Group have or are considering opening offices in Florida. High-profile investors like Keith Rabois, Shervin Pishvar, and John Oringer already made the move. Even JetBlue is considering it.
And I say they're leaving Wall Street for the beautiful beaches of Miami, but really, they're not moving to Florida because of the culture, the nightlife, the golf, or the beaches. They're moving simply because of the economic policies. Because Florida ranks #1 in terms of economic freedom in the entire country. It's pretty much a no-brainer. I mean, every single metric points to conservative policies working and Democrat policies leading to the destruction and collapse of major metropolitan areas. Let's take a look at real estate, for instance. It's another interesting metric. You know, the last 2 years, the cost of housing has absolutely boomed. But yet again, places like New York City and San Francisco haven't seen the same kind of boom. In fact, the most recent metric shows San Francisco specifically as one of the places seeing the biggest real estate price drops in the country. And I'm sure some leftoids are going to view that as an opportunity to make a terribly disingenuous argument. Well, housing's becoming more affordable in San Francisco. Liberal policies are working. No, housing is still exceedingly expensive. There's still a major lack of supply. The only thing is, nobody wants to move to San Francisco anymore, so the demand has dropped so significantly to the extent that hundreds of millions of dollars in home equity has been lost. These thriving blue metropolitan areas aren't so thriving after all. In fact, you might even argue that they're collapsing, and they're collapsing because of policy. It's not just big business that's being taxed into oblivion. It also has to deal with all of this burdensome regulation. It's not just the big businesses, it's small businesses as well. You know, the migration patterns that I mentioned earlier, people are fleeing and they're taking their businesses, they're taking their tax dollars with them. Not only is it hard to operate a business with burdensome regulation and crazy tax bills, but it's hard to run a business when city officials refuse to enforce laws. This right here is one of the craziest headlines so far of 2023. I mean, this is crazier than last year's 17 Walgreens shutting down in Los Angeles and across California. Walmart to shutter Portland locations just months after CEO's warning on crime. Walmart announced that it is permanently closing all of its locations in Portland, Oregon over financial reasons. We have nearly 5,000 stores across the United States, and unfortunately, some do not meet our financial expectations, Walmart said in its announcement, according to KPTV. While our underlying business is strong, these specific stores haven't performed as well as we have hoped. Both Walmart locations at Hayden Meadows and Eastport Plaza will officially close on March 24th. A couple months ago, the CEO of Walmart went publicly on the record claiming that theft is historically high and it's becoming a serious issue.
Theft is an issue. It's higher than what it's historically been, and we've got safety measures, security measures that we put in place by store location. I think local law enforcement being staffed and being a good partner is part of that equation, and that's normally how we approach it.
But there have been rules that have been changed that make it not something that the police are going to prosecute, or that the criminals won't be prosecuted below certain levels. Does that matter?
If that's not corrected over time, prices will be higher. Right. And or stores will close.
Not too long later, all the locations in Portland, Oregon are officially being shut down. Coincidence? I think not. All these Democrat politicians painting this beautiful liberal utopia where crime doesn't exist. It's just gonna all magically disappear because of compassion. As Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said, if you defund the police, if you stop prosecuting and persecuting minorities who are just innocent civilians trying to steal bread, feed their families, well then society will turn into a white picket fence utopia. All the politicians who push this ridiculous nonsense worldview and policy 100% of the time, 10 out of 10 times, end up exacerbating all of the same problems, making cities and communities less safe, making the people less prosperous. Kevin O'Leary is right, and here's another example of exactly that. That's why these cities are uninvestable. No, it's actually a big issue that's getting in the way of racial equality, for instance. Democrats tell you that the way to fix racial equality is to demonize white people. That's the first step. And the second step is defunding the police. Because what's really standing in the way of these communities thriving are white racist Gestapo police forces. But really the issue is crime. You can't operate business in a high crime area. You can't operate a small retail store or even a big box retail store if crazed fentanyl and meth addicts and roaming bands of retail theft organizations are ransacking your store on a daily basis, while the government does nothing in the name of racial equality. Democrat policies hurt the exact people that they're supposed to protect and uplift. Democrats tax the middle class into oblivion. They make it hard to run a business from a financial perspective, and they make it even harder from a safety and community policing perspective. And I know on the issue of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez scaring Amazon away from New York, people claim that Amazon's an evil company and those weren't good jobs anyways. Well, you know what? They're still jobs. It would have brought money and prosperity to the community. It would have added to government tax coffers, but instead, through the liberal policy of virtue signaling and demonizing business and billionaires, well, all of the jobs and the financial benefit just went somewhere else. In other words, Kevin O'Leary is absolutely 100% correct. That's what I got for you guys though. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.